Hi, this is Kathy, and I'm here at the Bead Place in Fairview Heights. I'm with Mary Dale, and this is Abby, who is the owner of the Bead Place in Fairview.
Hello.
And we came here. I noticed online you have a very good web presence, and I noticed that you are moving to your third location.
Yeah.
That I take as a very positive sign.
Yep. We're excited to be able to expand not only the yarn but also the bead side of our business.
So, what do you attribute to your success? Because you're kind of tucked away here in Fairview.
Well, we're
Word of mouth, or
Yep, word of mouth, and then Fairview Heights is actually a major shopping area
I know.
for this side of the river. So we actually have a lot of people travel from many states to come visit us. We had trips from Kentucky yesterday. I think, like you said, our online presence has really benefited us over the years. We kind of got online just at the right time, and we've had success with our YouTube videos and marketing on social media.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, because not everybody has done it, and I think that's part of the reason. I'm guessing, of course, I'm not the marketing expert, but I think it may have helped in your survival.
Yeah.
Because you do have that web presence that people who can't get out and shop or feel a little bit intimidated right now are just going ahead and just doing it online.
Yeah, exactly. We've tried to kind of pivot to make shopping online easier for folks who maybe aren't comfortable. Like you said, either going out or even who haven't shopped online yet. We've done live video presentations on our Facebook page to kind of ease people into online shopping.
So you've been in business over 15 years.
We have.
What do you attribute to your success? Because again, I go back to you're kind of tucked away. Is it word of mouth? Is it? Are you offering something to craftspeople that they can't get anywhere else? What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of it is that beads and yarn go hand in hand.
Sure.
So when trends wax and wane like they do, we offer a variety of items that we can kind of hit both sides of the crossover crafters.
Mm-hmm.
So that certainly helps. And then, like we mentioned earlier, our early online presence has really helped.
Absolutely. And I'm sure your knitters that teach here probably are very familiar with beadwork as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, everybody who's on staff here is both an expert in fiber arts and in jewelry making. And then not all of our staff of instructors here at the store do both crafts, but I would say most of them do. So we're able to kind of offer a little bit of, I like to think, everything.
Absolutely, and you've got some excellent teachers.
Thanks, yeah.
If Sandy Kulash is here,
yeah.
My gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, yep, Sandy's been great.
What sort of yarns do you carry? Can you just give me a...
Yeah,
I mean, you have a wonderful web presence, but I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, so some of our major importers and yarn producers that a lot of your knitters in the guild might be familiar with are going to be like the Noro yarns that we were speaking about before we started filming. We also carry Plymouth yarns, yarns from Cassell and Knitting Fever. And then we also carry a variety of indie artists as well, like Sweet Georgia, Knitted Wit, the Wonderland yarns.
Oh my.
So we try to kind of have a little bit of everything, like I said.
Absolutely. What is the most popular yarn here?
That's a very good question. We always get in new different yarns. So currently, I would say our most popular yarn right now is Beach Pebbles, which is a great cotton blend by Plymouth Yarn, and we can take a look at that a little bit later.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to see that.
Overall, it's kind of funny to say, but overall our most popular yarn is actually an economy yarn called Tonic, which is by Jojo Land. So it's a wool and acrylic blend.
Yeah.
But it's a really fine quality acrylic. So it feels like a beautiful silk wool blend, and it drapes really nicely.
Well, I'd like to see that too. I'm not familiar with that one
Definitely.
at all. And what are some of the new items you think you're bringing into the shop, particularly with this being Christmas?
Yeah, so one of the new items, which is kind of a funny story, if you would want to kind of take a look at these finished socks right here.
Sure.
This is something that we actually planned on getting last holiday season.
Yeah.
Because as you may be aware, it's really kind of difficult to get products in right now just due to the supply chain disruptions and the metals shortages. We're trying to kind of make gift giving a little bit easier this year. So not only do we have kits and project ideas to whip up really quick last minute gifts, but also if somebody needs a pair of knitted socks and they don't have the time to make them themselves, we have them.
And you know, the funny thing about it is by the time you buy the yarn and the time it takes to knit them, they're just about even, I
Yeah.
think, as far as
Yeah.
price per sock.
Mhm.
Because I am a sock knitter, and I think, why am I doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. So the funny thing is, we have the yarn
Yeah,
if you want to do it yourself, and then we have the yarn made up into socks.
yeah, and this is a matching sock kit. So
Yes.
you've got 2 balls, right, in here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
so
2 balls.
does it matter if you start toe up or
Well, the pattern is included,
Okay.
but there are a variety of patterns that are available either on their website or on Ravelry that you can go toe up or toe down or however you want to knit your socks.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. All right.
Doesn't matter.
Well, we're going to take a tour of your shop, but I wanted to ask you a few more things.
Yeah.
You have a number of teachers, as we talked about, listed on your website. Can you share with our audience some of the classes you offer?
Sure. So our approach to knitting classes might be a little bit unconventional, but it's worked really well, and I think it kind of plays a part in our longevity of our business. The majority of our knitting classes are actually scheduled by appointment on demand. So you tell us what you want to learn, and we can accommodate you. So we do have a staff of knitting, crochet, weaving, and spinning experts on staff. So if there's something that you'd like to learn, we will contact our instructor that we think would be best suited for the class that you'd like to take, and then you guys can set up a class and meet here whenever it's convenient for you. So we have done a variety of advanced sweater projects, color work, just kind of you name
Intarsia,
it. Yeah.
things like that?
Yeah.
That's one skill I have not picked up.
Oh, really?
No.
It can be overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I can knit quickly, but I've never learned Intarsia, so I suppose it's on my wish list.
It can be a little fumbly, but
I understand
yeah.
that. It's hard to fix a mistake.
That's true. That's
what I hear.
definitely true.
Can we take a tour around and just
Yeah.
can you share with us some of
Sure.
your items?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm going to let you lead if you don't
Okay,
mind,
yeah.
because you know your shop.
Yeah. So we can kind of start here. These are some of our kind of new popular gifty yarns, some chunky stuff, some mohair. We find that yarns like this are very popular around the holiday season because mohairs can kind of bulk up your work and can get you done quicker. And then, Noro yarns are beautiful and
They are
very
beautiful.
impressive. We'll kind of go over here. So this is our alpaca section. So we might be a little bit different than some of the other yarn stores that you might have been in because we don't organize our yarns by brand or by yarn size.
Okay.
We mainly organize by fiber type or fiber content. So we
Okay.
find that works a little bit easier for us to help people find the yarns that they need in order to complete the projects. So all of these beautiful alpaca yarns are going to have a beautiful, lofty, kind of puffy drape. Then this section here is going to be our fingering weights, lace weights, and sock yarns. So this is the exception to that rule because we find that the majority of those yarns are similar fiber contents, but you're usually making the same kind of things with those, whether it be shawls or socks. Here is our Noro section. The majority of these items are going to be wool blends. There are some exceptions to that, but we find that our Noro knitters are going to seek out Noro and are already familiar.
Well, Noro definitely is very vivid colors.
Yes, yep.
And it plays well with some particular patterns.
Yes, definitely. With Noro, it's called an art yarn for a reason.
Yeah.
Not all Noro yarns are going to be the softest, but they're incredibly beautiful, artistic, usually organic yarns.
Yes. I remember knitting with Crayon, and I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. So, speaking of Crayon, a great yarn that's very similar to Crayon is Plymouth Yarn's Gina.
Okay.
As we talked about Noro, it is an art yarn, so it's not always going to be regular and uniform. Sometimes you find organic material in it. Gina is going to knit at the same gauge. You can use it in the same patterns. However, it's going to be a little bit more uniform.
Okay.
And not as many slubs or sticks, which is fun, but when that's not what you're looking for, that's not what you're looking for. So we've got a wide variety of the artsy yarns and the more uniform yarns. So these sections here are going to be our merinos and luxury wools. We've got some beautiful tweeds. Tweeds are making a comeback. So lots of great organic yarns and wools. And then we also have some really cool recycled tweeds in this section as well, which is a new thing that we're seeing in the knitting industry or the yarn industry is that there's a big push for recycled materials, which I
Absolutely.
appreciate.
Now, is this coming from Australia?
I believe that Queensland is out of Turkey.
Turkey. Okay.
Yes, out of Turkey. Yeah. I don't know why it's called Queensland.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It was from Australia.
I know.
But I know there's another big, is it Plymouth yarn? Comes out of Turkey?
A lot of Plymouth yarns come out of Turkey, and they're mainly an importer, so they've got mills all over.
Okay.
So into this next section here, we're going to find 100% feltable wools and also chunkier wools. So Galway is a great worsted weight feltable wool. We also have it in the chunkier weights for even faster gift knitting. Some colorways that are a little bit more variegated. And then some of the heritage wools, like the Jaeger spun yarns, smaller farms, specific breed lines for the sheep. Over here is a great section for, like I said, quick gift knitting. Chunkier yarns, great for hats, very quick cowls and shawls. And then if we turn this way, this is where most of our plant-based fibers are going to be. So cottons, linens, flax. And so one of my favorite yarns that I would just like to kind of spotlight real quick, if that's okay, is Cumulus. This is a beautiful brushed chain construction cotton that you feel free to squish if you'd like. It feels like a wonderful lofty alpaca.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
However, it's not going to have that hold of heat that alpaca does. It's going to be a bit more breathable, a little bit more sustainable, and then also it has a bit of nylon in it for durability. So that nylon is going to prevent it from sagging like a lot of the cotton yarns do. So we've been really pleased with Cumulus for a lot of our gift items this year. And then they also semi-recently brought it out in beautiful colorways.
Oh, yeah.
So I've started a sweater in this, and I'm just in love with it. And then I want to show you, even if you fall in love with some of these yarns that might not be as thick as you need them for those really quick gifts, what we like to do is just twist some of them together.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's probably a trick that you might already know, but just keep in mind that if you fall in love with the yarn, there are many tips and tricks that you can do to apply it to patterns that might not necessarily fit it originally.
Quick gifts are wonderful, I think.
And ribbing for hats, just all the way up.
Can we go towards that cowl?
Yeah.
I'm interested in that.
Definitely. So the one up here, so this one is a really cool free pattern with yarn purchase. We offer a variety of free patterns with yarn purchase. And this particular one is a really quick chunky knit. Mostly it's going to be garter stitch, and it looks really advanced because of that lattice work in the front. But it's just as easy as knitting a rectangle and then knitting strips off of it, weaving it together, and then picking up stitches all at the end to create that kind of fringed connection.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique.
We like a lot of patterns that look difficult,
Yes.
but have pretty easy tricks in them.
Well, it sounds like you've knit this before. So
I personally have not. However, I have helped a number of people assemble it together, so I'm very familiar with the pattern. While we're in this area, I did want to kind of focus on that Beach Pebbles yarn that we talked about earlier. So this is a cotton blend. I believe it's about 84% Pima cotton, 16% merino.
Okay.
And it has these cool little slubs on it. So you can see it's got little puffs of a contrasting color. There's a very easy cowl pattern that a lot of our customers have fallen in love with. It's really simple. So the trick for this particular yarn is when you get to the little slubs, all you're gonna do is do a purl stitch, and it pops those cool little slubs out. And our intention with this was to show that even a brand new knitter can create a pattern or create a project that has mistakes in it.
Yeah.
And maybe some purls where they're not supposed to be, maybe some inconsistent stitches, but it looks beautiful and perfect, even with the mistakes, because of how cool the yarn is.
Yeah, even with the inconsistent stitches, which you can see when you're looking, it does not look bad.
It looks intentional.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It looks intentional. It's very unique. I like that.
A lot of our new knitters have fallen in love with this particular project, and this is a free pattern with yarn purchase. And then we do ship as well, so.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So I think we kind of hit most of the yarns in this particular area. So we'll kind of move on to this area if that's
here?
okay with you guys.
Okay.
So this is our cute little leftover, I shouldn't say leftover, but our additional mohair section. So we've got some great fluffy yarns that, as we mentioned earlier, are great for adding into projects to make them even fluffier. They're also going to make beautiful lace projects on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're not quite ready to jump off into an advanced lace project, mohair is a beautiful yarn because it holds loosely knit stitches apart. So you can just find a beautiful mohair yarn, mohair a little bit of silk, whatever you want, knit it with a really big needle, and the fluff is going to keep those stitches apart so it looks like you've done something a little bit more complicated, and it can just be as simple as stockinette or knit stitch or garter stitch. So over here we mentioned a couple of our indie artists earlier. We just got another batch of Sweet Georgia in. So Sweet Georgia is one of our yarn dyers actually out of Canada. So you may have caught on so far that we have yarns from all over the world.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I think most knitters like that.
Yeah, yep. So not only do we have local, but yarn from everywhere. Sweet Georgia, one of their most popular yarns is Tough Love Sock.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a beautiful, beautiful sock yarn, but a lot of our knitters like to actually make it into shawls. And that goes for a lot of our other sock yarns as well. We also just got a new one for us, not new for them, but new for us. This is a 65% silk, 35% linen, which is going to make beautiful tops, shawls, just incredibly
nice halo
lightweight.
to it.
Yes, yes, it is a really, really nice linen, and with that silk, it kind of makes it even more shiny. We also have a cool yarn from them called Cash Lux Fine, which is a merino cashmere nylon blend.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another one of our really popular yarns, especially around gift giving season. If you're wanting to make something really nice for someone, the art yarns with the cashmeres and the merinos are very
quick
very nice.
quick ones too.
Yes.
I see you have a lot of little
Oh, the
minis here.
yeah, the Party of 5 sets. They're very nice for when you're doing like colorway shawls where you need a gradient. A lot of people purchase these so they have accent colors for heels and toes and socks, and that's always fun.
Okay.
And it's great just to have a little bit of really nice yarn to add in as a stripe in a beautiful project.
One of the projects that I'm interested in knitting is something called the Scraptastic Cow.
Oh, cool.
Which is fingering weight yarn, and
Yeah.
it's scrap yarn is what it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you still have to have something, I think, as a base
Yeah.
to hold it all together. But
Yep.
I love those. Those are
They're-
beautiful.
It's a really great concept, and we've seen this concept kind of replicated with a number of our indie dyers and also
Yes.
some of the major yarn companies as well.
When you talk about indie dyers, you don't have to give away names, but you're in Fairview. Are you dealing with people in the Illinois area?
So we that's a little bit of a complicated question,
Okay.
and I'll just kind of summarize so we don't get too deep into it. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of life changes that have affected a lot of our really local indie dyers.
Sure.
We've lost a number of them. They've needed to change jobs or have moved out of the area. So although we still have some of their yarns here in the store, we are actively looking for indie dyers who are interested in having their yarns in a yarn store.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
yeah.
I just want to, just like you were talking about local, and I'm thinking, well,
How
what
local?
about here? Yeah, how local, you know?
Yeah.
Let's,
Yeah.
Can we go over here? I see
Yeah.
some
Oh,
bright colors.
Sorry to interrupt, but while we're standing here, I did want to mention that this is that tonic yarn that I was talking about
Okay.
earlier. And so you can see our selection is a little bit picked over right now. This is one of those yarns that we do have listed online, so we ship it all over the world.
Sure.
And during holiday season, the wool and acrylic blends are popular because they're washable.
Yes.
And so when you're knitting something for someone or crocheting something for someone, you want to make sure it's going to be well taken care of. And so picking a machine washable yarn is key for that because you know it'll survive a trip
Mhm.
through the washer. So I just did want to point on this while we were standing
No,
here.
Does it have enough wool to hold a block?
It does. It does. It blocks beautifully. And it has a beautiful drape on its own anyway. So we found that a lot of people who knit with it find that blocking isn't always necessary, but it depends on the pattern that you're making it into. So
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
go over here
let's
to
squeeze through here.
the colorful buttons and bows here you have.
Yeah, I'll kind
Wonderful.
of move to the other side of you. So we have, because we have connections in the bead world, we are really lucky to have a variety of vintage and vintage reproduction check glass buttons. We also have a strategic partnership with an importer of horn, shell, and bone buttons from the Philippines.
Okay.
So our selections of buttons are, in my opinion, very special, and they're ever changing. We also have a variety of vintage and artisan ceramic and wood buttons. So if you're looking for something to make your knit work extra special, adding the accent button is a
Accent
great way to
buttons,
do that.
particularly if you're making a sweater, you know,
Yes.
just that button can really
Yeah.
make it pop.
I like to add like a loop on my shawls and then just a button so I can make sure it doesn't come undone.
Come undone.
Yeah.
Here's one of my old favorites.
Yeah, the Encore.
It's a
Encore yarn's
workhorse.
great.
It's a workhorse.
Yeah.
I love it.
Encore is definitely one of our most popular stocking yarns. So this time of year, we sell a lot of yarns
Oh,
to
yeah.
people who are making Christmas stockings.
Oh, yes, I'll bet, because they're washable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, so Encore is probably tied for our #1 stocking yarn. Galway, which we looked at earlier, the 100% wool, that's probably tied with the Encore for a stocking yarn.
Yeah, I can, yeah, absolutely. And here we are back at a Wheel of Noro.
Yeah, more Noro. I did want to mention while we were talking about the Encore, Encore also comes in a variety of sizes as well. So Encore Chunky and then Encore Mega are great for gift giving season as well. All right, so the Wheels of Noro, I'll kind of stand out of the way so our wonderful camera woman can get a closer shot. The Wheels of Noro are great for spinners or weavers. You can actually knit right off of it as well. But it's basically like a thin pencil roving that is really versatile. And I'm going to kind of squeeze this
Here, I'm in here.
fabric out of here so you can see what it looks like woven up. So here is a beautiful woven shawl using some of the pencil roving from Noro. So we do offer a variety of weaving classes as well. This is kind of like our weaving corner. We normally do have shop products in stock. We are very lucky to have a local shop distributor as our weaving instructor, Jill Kettler. And so we normally have Cricut looms, but you know, it's holiday season right now, so some of those items are sold out.
Well, you know, knitters also, there's a great deal of them that are weavers.
Yes.
And there's a Weaving Guild, which you may be familiar with. It just
Yeah.
had a big sale last month. So they kind of intermix.
Definitely,
And,
yeah.
You know, so
We find that we have a lot of sewers and
Yes.
needlepoint artists, and like I mentioned earlier, crossover crafting is what we like
it's
to call
absolutely
it. So,
right. Yes.
if you are wanting to get into weaving but not sure that you'd like to invest in a loom right away, we have these beautiful miniature rigid heddle looms. So it is a fully functioning rigid heddle, and it just makes cute little squares that you can do pouches or sew them together into larger projects to do a scarf. We've seen beautiful shawls made on the little mini rigid heddle looms. So that's a fun way to kind of
Well,
try
that's a
your
fun way
hand
to
at
try it. And even if you have a child that's
Exactly.
tends to want to do crafting, it's a great way to do that.
Yeah, and it's a quality product as well. There's a lot of plastic looms out there that,
Yeah, I know.
you know, sit in landfills when you're done with it, but these are sustainable.
I see you also have.
Yeah, we have a wide variety of roving. The majority of the roving that we have in stock right now is from Yarn Geek Fibers, who
Okay.
is a semi-local indie artist. Unfortunately, she is no longer able to do dyeing anymore. So she was one of the artists that I was mentioning earlier that unfortunately, due to life changes, what we have is what we have. So we also have roving from Wonderland Yarns and Frab Juice Fibers. And then a variety of other either indie dyers or roving from a number of manufacturers.
Can we take a look at your beads now that we've been through?
Maybe
your-
the sparkly.
Oh yeah, the candy section. We call this
Candy.
the candy section
Okay.
because this is where a lot of our novelty yarns are. So we have a lot of mixed media artists who are either doing crazy quilting or scrapbooking, card making, and also a lot of our jewelry artists use some of our fancy fibers
Sure.
in their work. And these are also great for just kind of spicing up some of your knitting projects as well, like hairpin lace. You can combine lots of funky fibers together. And they also shine very well in weaving projects. Kind of adds a bit of texture. The faux fur fibers are very on trend right now. And so we actually do Facebook Live videos every Wednesday night. And about a month ago, we did a whole show on how to use the faux fur yarns, not only in jewelry making, but then we also have a YouTube video where you can do finger knitting and arm knitting with it.
Sure.
So more quick projects.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, a couple of years ago, hand knitting was, or
Yeah.
we call it
Yeah, the finger knitting
finger
or arm
knitting.
knitting.
That was real popular for a while. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, the faux yarn or the faux fur yarns are on trend for cuffs and for headbands. You can also make really cute faux fur pom poms out of the faux fur yarn.
You have an interesting collection of knitting bags. Are those made here locally?
We do have some that are locally made. We also have some that are fair trade from Vietnam and from
Okay.
Turkey. So there's a number of different sources for the knitting bags and project bags that we have here.
Very nice. They're very interesting.
Well, thanks. We try.
I'm gonna have to come back and look at this.
Yeah, the knitted weight yarns are phenomenal.
Yeah, I love them. I'm attracted to the colors.
Yeah.
I want to see what you have here.
Sure.
Take a look at some of your beads, because I know knitters also tend to be beaders.
Yeah. Partner mess on the counter. It's
No
holiday
problem.
season, so we've got a lot of outgoing mail that we're working through.
I don't know what this is, but it looks
Those
interesting.
are strands of crocodile wood hand-carved skulls. So crocodile wood is a symbol. It's symbolic of resilience. So those are hand-carved, and crocodile trees are actually one of the few trees that holds more water than it needs.
Okay.
So it's a very interesting plant. You find it generally in the rainforest or the deep thicks of the jungle. So the reason why it's a symbol of resilience is because people who are lost in the jungle or traveling through, when they see a crocodile wood tree, if you whack it with a hatchet, it'll spurt out safe, clean water for you to drink.
Really?
Mhm.
So what would one do with a group of these? They're not
So
buttons.
the majority of the beads that we have here in the store are on strands like that.
Yeah.
Those particular ones are just grouped together so that we can keep the sizes straight.
Oh,
but
okay.
generally, our jewelry makers will purchase a strand, separate it, and then implement the individual beads into designs mixed with other pieces.
This is very festive.
Yeah,
Very
quick little holiday
Holiday.
section.
Yes, absolutely.
So just like with our fibers, we do have beads and findings, jewelry making supplies from all over the world. A lot of the items we either directly import ourselves, or we have strategic partners that we are able to kind of get really unique items. And then we work with a lot of either local or national or international artists.
Well, I was interested in when you mentioned you're involved with the Fair Trade Organization, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of our knitters tend to be conservative and aware of the ecology, et cetera. So
Yeah.
helping with
Yeah.
that is certainly something I think that's interesting to our members.
Yeah, we try to do as much fair trade as possible, and even when, I guess I should backtrack. Fair trade is a certification that is something that you have to pay to be certified and pay to achieve. So even when a lot of our vendors or artisans are not necessarily certified fair trade, we do make sure to spend our money with people that we know are doing the right thing.
Yes, well, I think it says a lot about the longevity of your shop too.
Thank
People,
you.
people find that appealing.
Mhm.
I know I do.
Yeah, we've definitely been very intentional with where we have given our business.
Mhm.
So.
So what are some of the patterns that you're selling the most of right now?
And knitting? Oh, that's a very good question. So I have to say that over the past 5 or so years, we've seen a significant shift in how our customers find their projects. We used to actually sell a ton of patterns and a ton of pattern books, but at this point in time, we found that the majority of our customers come in with Ravelry up on their phone
sure.
or a paper. So we found that everybody's doing something different. But night shift is always
That's a
always
show?
going to be. Yep. Night shift is always going to be a very popular pattern. I would say a couple times a week we have people in selecting yarns for night shift.
I'll have to look that one up.
I got it in here if you want to take
Is
a look
that
at
Andrea Mowry?
it. It is Andrea
Okay.
Mowry. Also, the tin can knits patterns
Oh,
are
yeah.
always super popular. So this is the night shift, and there's a couple varieties of it as well. But it's a beautiful technique. So our instruction or our guidance whenever we have people or help people select yarns for this project is we tell them to pick the yarns that they think would never go together.
Okay.
And when it's such a stark, strange contrast, that's when you're going to get the most beautiful shawl.
Interesting. So is
Yeah.
this skein here?
Yep,
Is that part
this
of
is
this?
one of the yarns that you'll find in this.
You
Here's-
can't really see. Okay, it's over there.
Yeah, here's some of it. And what's cool about this particular project is you can start and stop wherever you want. And you're generally working with 2 colors at a time. And so picking a yarn that has some long colorway variety is going to work up beautifully in a project like this. So the Painted Sky or like the Jojo Land Melodies or Painted Desert, any of those kind of long colorway transitions are going to work really nicely.
Tell me a little bit about this.
That is a beautiful kind of pullover made out of Ito, which is one of Noro's most popular yarns of all time. It's
Sure.
a semi-new one, but it's one of the large cake yarns that we looked at over there. So this is an interesting pattern because it's multi-directional.
Yes.
So it's very easy. But you're going to do the faux cables, and then you pick up stitches along and do
Yeah, it
your
looks like a pick up
bodice
the
at the
knit.
bottom.
Yeah. Well, it's
And-
so interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a poncho, kind of like a top.
I would probably seam the sides a little bit.
You know, we've had people do that,
Just
and
a
a
bit?
lot of them have undone it.
Really?
Yeah, because it starts because Nora yarn is a bit heavy.
Yeah.
It starts to feel kind of boxy. So having it open allows for a little bit more freedom with the movement.
Certainly makes sense.
Yeah.